Good morning, everyone. My name is Hesham Hafez. I was born in Egypt. I studied in Austria. I married in Malaysia. And I did my first open company in Dubai, China, Korea, and now I'm living in Dubai. And I have two healthy boys, and we do business in we invoice to 30 countries around the world of our paper business. I'm a paper trader, and my neighborhood is the world. This is actually the first phrase we start the book with, because it is actually true. So today I will represent actually the Global Innovator, how nations have held and lost their innovative ages. The first question you ask, why? What motivates you to write the book? I never thought when I was young, I will never I write a book. I bought the books, but I never did. And as a result of my PhD, actually, I wrote a lot of paper when I was at the Harvard Business School in 2006, 2007. And I was predicting actually a lot of the catastrophic, what will happen on the 208. And all my professors said, this is not true. This is America. It will revive itself, and you don't understand really the system. And true enough, catastrophic financial crisis happened in 2008. After that, I thought, I'm not idiot. What I was predicting, it was actually correct. And I met my professor 2-3 years later, and I wrote some paper, and I showed it to them, and they said, hey, this is what I said. He said, yes, you are right. You are good. So I trusted myself, actually. And this is a very important thing I would like to tell everyone. Trust yourself. You are not idiot. I thought maybe I am idiot, but it was not. So I have been motivated to write, actually, to start my PhD. I finished my PhD, and then I said, I am not actually Zuckerberg or Gates or anyone. I am one of the 99.999% of the world. If I write a book, it will relate to the normal people like me. If those people write books, they are phenomenon. How many Bill Gates we have in our life? How many Zuckerberg, Facebook we have in our life? So that's why I was very motivated actually to write the book. And my professor at the Harvard Business School as well, they said, yes, it's a good material to start to print it. And of course, one of the main value, my parents. My father was all the time telling me, you should write a book about your experiences. Because I was around the world since I was 18 years old. I was on my own. So this is my story. Now, what is innovation? If I ask any one of you what innovation is, I will hear, I don't know how many of you, maybe 50, I will hear 50 definitions of what is innovation. And I couldn't explain to myself as well when I went to the school, what is innovation? The first lesson we got, it was an innovation class. And I didn't understand why I have to study innovation. This is a iPhone, Samsung, why I'm here actually, to study what? I didn't understand what innovation is. And I decided to go behind the innovation. So I started really to get to understand, can everyone be innovative? And what is innovation? I discovered that innovation is very simple. Innovation is any new idea or adapted, adjusted idea, which can be executed to create value. I related the value to the ideas and the innovation. If you don't execute those ideas, then you sleep with that, and it's illusion. It's not innovation. So innovation must have an add value. And those value can be either spiritual, I call it religion, or ideology, or monetary values. I call it creation of wealth. You are more richer, you help your society, you give back to the society. This is innovation. It means every one of you, actually, is innovative. Everyone. Because you observe, you think, you create value. This is very, very important. I came with that and I said, how can we make innovation process? What means if I tell, be innovative, you sell to your child or your coworker or the nations, be innovative. We need innovative nations. What does it mean? What does it mean if you tell your Peter or Romanov, be innovative? What does it mean? He will not understand anything. So I said, let's go back. What innovation is, how to start to be innovative, and how we started to be a human being. Innovation is very easy. We started with observation. Observation, you observe your surrounding. We're born as kids. We have been around and we look around, we touch everything, we put everything in our mouth in order to discover it. And we have the observation either this is a necessity to observe something wrong, or is a status quo. It is there, and I would like to change, right? Everyone has the same, correct? Very important to encourage observation. Encourage observation in your children, encourage observation in your team work, encourage observation in your neighborhood. Observe me, and don't be shy to think. I go into the second column of the innovation model, which is critical thinking. What means critical thinking? Critical thinking, if you like it or not, as soon as you observe something, if you look at something, your brain will trigger thinking. You like it or not, it doesn't matter. There is nobody is stupid. There is some people are lazy and some people they think about it, but nobody is stupid. And that's why the triggering of the thinking process, it's very important. When I thought about it, I think in order to create a liberal thinking society, free thinker, we have to give them liberal education. It will be lovely if we give them free education. And it's very important to get other people to come in to the thinking process. It means immigration. It means new blood. It means actually a competition of this thinking process. If you see your neighbor, he is black, white, blue, red, it is very important because it will encourage you to think. He's coming from a totally different background. He's coming from, I don't know where. You never heard about it, but it will increase your capability to create something in your brain. And I have seen it myself. I was immigrant, I went to Austria. I didn't know anything about anything, but I observed, and that was very, very interesting lessons for me. Let's encourage free thinking, liberal thinking, and please get out of caste, tradition. Yes, stay with the values, but increase and encourage your children, your coworker, your nation to say what they think. Has nothing to do with democracy, okay? We don't talk about politics here, but this is the truth. Just say what you think. And it's also very important, guys, the diversity of religion and background. It helps as well in the thinking process. So when we have the thinking process, we have a new idea, born new idea. Very good. How to execute this new idea in order to create value? The new ideas are born in a countries. What I observed in the last 30 years, they have a lot of free thinking. A lot of ideas came out of Sweden, out of America, out of Israel, out of so many places actually where they really enjoy freedom of thinking. And executed, did they execute in Europe? No. Why? they executed in America, and this is the truth. You need just to get a $100 American company in order to say this company from America. Why? Because America started actually this process of investing in startup, investing in new ideas, investing in all kind of new ideas, whatever brought them to the system. And that's why, if you would like to have a super idea, you're born, the idea born in Europe, in Austria or in Germany, you cannot get any funding from the bank. You have to sell your kids in order to get $100 to get a fund. And this is a lot of stories about that. If you go to America and then you have only a small app, you can raise millions of dollars of fund. And the same story, we have seen it actually in the new China. China has supported, the state supported all the startup. Israel, the state has supported all the startup. Abu Dhabi, they supported all the startup. But unfortunately, the European country is still backwards in terms of supporting and creating a society which can actually encourage the finance, encourage the new ideas. I thought about it. I said, why? It was very interesting. I found out that all those societies are immigrant society. America, it's made out of immigrant. All of them, they come, and the immigrant, when you come to a country, you are actually a risk. Your appetite of the risk is very high. You have no problem at all to take a risk. You would like to take a risk. As soon as you sit in the country, you are settled, you don't want to take a risk anymore. And I noticed that, guys, if you give $100 to a child in Austria or in Germany to tell him what you do with that, he will put it in a Sparbuch, in a saving book, right? If you ask 90 years old, the mother of a friend of mine, if you have extra money, what you're gonna do with that? She's a Polish, Jewish immigrant to America. She told me, I will buy a stock. And that actually increased my understanding of why the people, they have this appetite. We have seen after the Second World War, that was a huge immigrant between the countries in Europe, which created a huge value actually, and raised the whole society in Europe. So immigration is not bad. Immigration is very healthy. And we have seen as well in Japan, guys, it is just dying up. Everything we then invented in Japan and die in Japan doesn't come anymore out of Japan. So this is actually the three things I was thinking about of the innovation model: observation, free or liberal thinking, execution, and what nation can do, what country can provide to their people to be innovative. And then, as Alex said, we have to prove what I put it together, the innovation model. I think the best proof is the history. I didn't invent anything from my brain. I just looked at the history and I said, how did I prove this innovation model? I realized the best way was taking a trip through the history. Being Egyptian, blooded Egyptian, I came back to Egypt to see what the pharaohs did, what the Greek, the Roman did, what is the Islamic Empire did, what is the European took over, American, and the China Empire, I call it. So, and then I thought about, I have to get on board another two guys, Ken and Patricia. Both of them are professor and historian, a business historian. And I told them, would you like to work with me on the project? I said, yes. It's very interesting because nobody wrote about it before, to take the history as a catalyzer of innovation. I said, good, okay, let's do it. And we have done it. We produced this book, what you have seen it. So the book started with the preface and introduction of the innovation model and what is innovation. And then we go into the history, how the history evolved through actually the innovation. And we started with the Egypt. As I said, I am Egyptian. We go into Egypt, goes to the Greek, goes transmitted actually the evolving and transformation of innovation from Egypt to the Greek to the Roman, and then taken over by the Islamic Empire, which was actually very important, a kind of circle to get the new and the old. The European empire or the European civilization has been raised actually based on the Islamic Empire. And in the book, you will read a lot about the golden age of Islam. It was actually as well the golden age of Judaism and the golden age of Christianity, because everyone was equal at that time. There was no populist, no nationalist, racism, it's in us, but it was not so much actually. So, and then I moved from Egypt to the Europe, and the miracle of Europe, but I have it in my mind, that doesn't matter. Can you get it back, please? Oh, this is China, no. We need Europe. So, where is Europe? Insist on China.
No,
where is Europe?
Probably
how can you get back
this.
to Europe? Get Europe.
This on the left,
Oh,
this on the right.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Europe. Okay. I studied actually Europe and the European Industrial Revolution, and it was mainly actually started with the British and the German, and they have taken and got all the transmission from this Islamic Empire for 800 years. It was actually taken and has been modernized, and we start actually to see the new modern innovation, what we have seen it. Printing and powder, gunpowder, started actually Gutenberg in Germany, and we start the industrial actually paper. I mean, I'm a paper man, and I relate everything to paper business. So we have seen the machinery, industrial revolution. Europe has been really civilized society in those age, and it was the most innovative society in that time. After we have seen, after the Civil War in America, 1870, start the story to move to America. Actually, all of us, we say there's a copycat. Everything has been copied. Yes, this is true. A copycat is not actually bad. And the copying industrial things or civilization and the evolving and develop it, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. And it happens all the time. And it happens in you guys. Your child will actually imitate you. This is in our DNA, to imitate each other. We are Homo sapiens. We are Homo sapiens. We are human. It's normal to copy the other and evolve and develop the idea to create new values. It is very, very important. We don't need to be biased about China and we say, hey, everything is copy. No, everything has created a huge value. So America copied actually exactly what the British did. And the first machinery was in America. It was in an exhibition in London, 1910, made in United States. And that was a copycat, actually, of a machine in London. And that was not bad. That was very good. And America didn't have anything, because there's just a bunch of immigrants. They didn't have really industry, but they created. So we discuss in the book the American society, the American history, and the evolving of the American economy actually to be the top and the biggest economy in the world, and why America is still sitting on they are the head of the innovation path of the world. That is very, very important. Why? So, from America, we move to China. In how? China adopted the innovation actually since the 90s. And China was a very, very innovative society. in the 13th, in the 15th, in the 15th century. It was a very interesting, what I noticed, that in the 15th century was a very innovative age. It was in the East, in the West, it was very, very innovative. And it was a lot of ships. The Chinese, they built huge boats, actually, almost 100 meters, 150 meters in the Tang and Song dynasty. They built it, and they have been around the world. They have been around the world. But nobody talk about it. Why? Because that was the second to this dynasty. They demolished everything what the Chinese did, or the old dynasty did. So that was not a transformation of innovation in the history of China. That's why you don't see it. One was very up and the other one very down because they don't want it. We have seen it in America for the last 4 years with Mr. Trump. America was a very globalized country, and Mr. Trump came and he wanted to kill the globalization. And that happens exactly in China in the 16th, 17th century. And we have seen how China have survived, actually, and revived their nation and their industry. In the last chapter, which is actually the age of anti-globalization, and as I said, globalization is biological and natural process. Yes, it is created by humans and carried in our DNA. The survive, the rise, the revive, it repeated itself all the time. And my greatest wish is that we will stay innovative, even in an age of anti-globalization. Innovation is the only way to survive. And I hope that all of us, we will survive, because the anti-globalization hated many times, and we have it of this world with the pandemic, which we will hear about it in the next session, actually, about the post-pandemic world. Thank you.